Good morning. We resume with the teaching of the story Iswaran the Storyteller. In the prior part I had told you how Iswaran catches the attention of the people who are listening to his stories because he's very good at storytelling. And Mahendran gets captured in his imaginatory powers, like the way he describes, he starts imagining himself in that particular situation. So let's see where he had stopped. We had stopped earlier was that he was talking about the elephants in the jungle and how the Mahouts control them. And they are domesticated ones, though sometimes they go wild. Let's proceed with the story. One day, a tusker escaped from the timber yard and began to roam about, stamping on bushes, tearing up wild creepers, and breaking branches at will. Now, a tusker is a fully grown elephant or a boar also, any animal which has got a fully grown tusk. So he continues saying that one day what happened was, now every detail he brings into limelight, each and every detailing he brings into limelight as to what did the animal do, how was it behaving, how the others were struggling, every detail, so that like when people speak like this to you, you really start imagining those things which had already happened, like whatever was being said, whether it's true or not, irrespective of it being true or not, you will start imagining that things must have happened. Yes, you imagine the trees, the shrubs, and then the elephant in the middle gone rogue over there. Let's see what happens further. You know, sir, how an elephant behaves when it goes mad? So he asked, you must be knowing how does an elephant behave when it goes mad. Ishwaran would get so caught up in the excitement of his own story that he would get up from the floor and jump about, stamping his feet in emulation of the mad elephant. Now the person himself is so carried away by his own story while narrating it that he gets up and starts imitating the actions of the mad elephant. He also stamps his foot down, and like that kind of energy what the elephant had, he portrays to Mahendran. The elephant reached the outskirts of our town, breaking the fences down like matchsticks. Like truly, when elephants are huge animals and they are very, very strong. So anything which comes their way, and when they're normal, it's okay, they behave in a very domesticated manner, but when they go wild, so when they lose their sanity over there, when they go mad, if anything what comes across them, they rip it apart. He would continue. It came into the main road and smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots and clothes. So when it came onto the road, it was damaging anything that would touch him. People ran helter-skelter in panic. Helter-skelter means here and there. So obviously if you see a wild elephant which has gone almost mad and is damaging everything, the people would run from one place to another in panic. The elephant now entered a school ground where children were playing, breaking through the brick wall. Now it broke open a brick wall. It just with one blow of it, it broke the brick wall and entered inside. That to a school ground. All the boys ran into the classrooms and shut the doors tight. Now they were so scared, the students, that they ran inside the classrooms and shut themselves from inside. The beast grunted and wandered about, pulling out the football goalpost, tearing down the volleyball net, and kicking and flattening the drum kept for water and uprooting the shrubs. So whatever was available over there, the volleyball net and the drum which was kept for water, and then the football goal post, everything was damaged by the elephant. Meanwhile, all the teachers had climbed up to the terrace of the school building. Now they knew that the staircase's width was not that big that the elephant would come on the terrace. So they went on to the terrace and they were watching the havoc from there. From there, they helplessly watched the depredations of the elephant. Now, depredation is an act of attacking and assault where the person who or the animal which is doing it actually loses control over his temper. There was not a soul below on the ground. Nobody was there on the ground. Nobody, not a human being was there on the ground because they all had got scared because of the elephant's behavior. The streets were empty, as if the inhabitants of the entire town had suddenly disappeared. So nobody wanted to cross the way of the elephant, so they disappeared. They ran for shelters where they felt safe. I was studying in the junior class at that time, so he brings in himself over the protagonist of the story, and was watching the whole drama from the rooftop. I don't know what came over me suddenly. Now he has to bring in an angle where he's involved. I grabbed a cane from the hands of one of the teachers and ran down the stairs and into the open. Now at that time, teachers were allowed to beat the children, so the teacher always carried a cane, a very thin cane, which would give you a very bad whip. So this boy when he was young, Ishwaran took the cane from the teacher's hand and ran into the open to do what? Let's see. That elephant grunted and menacingly swung a branch of tree which it had held in its trunk. Now, menacingly means it threatened by this action. The other, like Ishwaran, it was trying to threaten that I am cautioning you, do not come ahead. So it flung the branch of tree onto where Ishwaran was standing. Grunted is the sound which the animal had made. It stamped its feet, so it hit its feet down on the ground, saying that, giving a warning call kind of a thing, that do not step further. Kicking up a lot of mud and dust. It looked frightening, but I moved slowly towards it, stick in the hand. People were watching the scene, hypnotized from nearby housetops. Now, hypnotizing is it's actually a process. Actually, you have a pendulum kind of a thing in your hand, and then you move it, and you keep saying to the person who is watching it move to and fro that you are now feeling calm and quiet, and now you will be going into a deep sleep. That process is called hypnotizing, when you actually get control and your subconscious mind starts acting more prevalent when compared to the conscious mind. So everybody looking at that site were kind of a stage of hypnotism. The elephant looked at me red-eyed. Why red-eyed? Because it was very angry. Ready to rush towards me. It lifted its trunk and trumpeted loudly. At that moment, I moved forward and mustering all my force, mustering over here means assemble, like actually a troop of soldiers coming down for inspection in a battle or something. So, but here there's no troop of soldiers. He's the only one-man army over there. So he was actually inspecting what to do next. He, mustering with all my force, whacked. Now, whacked means struck forcefully. He whacked its third toenail on the quick. Now, toes are the fingers of your leg. Now, the third one would be 1, 2, 3. This toenail, Ishwaran took the cane and whacked on the third toenail of the animal. The beast looked stunned for a moment. Now, stunned means it is like taken aback, saying it had did really Ishwaran hit me? Did really that human being hit me? It was totally taken aback by that moment. Then it shivered from head to foot. Shivered means kapi aa gayi usko. Imagine such a huge animal only hitting on the toenail, and this is the reaction what the animal gives, and collapsed. It fell onto the ground. Only by hitting the toenail? Let's see. At this point, Ishwaran would leave the story unfinished. Now, when you come to such an ending, and then stop, and don't tell the person who was continuously listening to you so keen, he was so curious to know about what was going to happen next. You say, now I'm going to resume my story later, then you get really upset about it. And kept mumbling and got up mumbling, I will be back after lighting the gas and warming up the dinner. So that was what he had to do. So he got up from there and he went away. Mahendra, who had been listening with rapt attention, would be left hanging. Rapt was completely absorbed in what was being said by the speaker. Completely absorbed. Like not even listening to the rustle of leaves around, any sound left and right, not paying attention to it, only and only listening to the narration of the storyteller. When he returned, Ishwaran would not pick up the thread of the story right away. Now when he would come back, when he would bring the khana and all and everything is done, then Mahendran would have to actually strike a conversation saying, darling, you left the story unfinished over there. You did not tell me what was the ending of it. Would you take the pain of saying it? Mahendra would have to remind him that the conclusion was pending. Well, a veterinary doctor was summoned to revive the animal. So he says, now after that the elephant collapsed, a vet was called to revive the animal, to look what was wrong with the animal. Ishwaran would shrug casually. 2 days later, it was led away by its mahout to the jungle. Now, like this is shrugging casually. Like the vet came and he looked at it, and after 2 days, it was released in the forest by the mahout. Well, how did you manage to do it, Ishwaran? How did you bring down the beast? Now, anybody would have a question. Only by hitting on the toenail would the animal collapse, and like such a havoc it had created, and you calmed the animal down only by hitting on the toenail. It has something to do with the Japanese art. I think so. Karate or Jujutsu. It is called. I had read about it somewhere. It temporarily paralyzes the nervous system, you see. So this guy had read about it in some book, some karate or Jujutsu kind of an art where which particular point of the animal's body you would hit and it would get paralyzed for a moment. He had read, so he actually practiced it over there. Remember, we are talking about when he was a child. Not a day passed without Ishwaran recounting some story packed with adventure, horror and suspense. So all genres were his fortes. Now he did not stick to one genre over there and say that I could say stories of only this particular style, but he had every style of story to say. Whether the story was incredible or not, Mahendra enjoyed listening to it because of the inimitable way in which it was told. May the story be interesting, may it be only kind of a mere story or kind of a narration or kind of an incident, still Mahendran wouldn't utter a word because he loved the way Ishwaran used to narrate it. May it be any kind of a story, interesting or not interesting, didn't even matter to him. Ishwaran seemed to more than make up for the absence of a TV in Mahendra's living quarters. So what does a TV do? A television actually brings to us various stories, and then their characters which we are watching with an audio as well as visual effect over there, both audio and video kind of an effect. But if you have a person live giving you all the kind of effect what the TV would give, definitely you don't need anything else in life when a person so entertaining is there with you. So it's quite a long chapter. I will finish it off in the next lecture. That's all for now. Read the story till here. For now, I know some material is going to come up. Like you have your terms coming up. For now, later also you can read it when you listen to the lecture. Thank you, dear.